Welcome back to Kraken Academy Productions. This is the first episode of a great series focused around the Karate Kid and Cobra Kai characters' backstories and how they'll eventually tie in with Cobra Kai. Sorry about the late release of the video. I was very busy today, but here's a nice length video in Cobra Kai Season 3, so it was worth the wait. Before we jump right in, last week's videos had a little bit of a flaw. Usually Cobra Kai stuff comes on Thursdays and Sundays. My dates were not Thursdays or Sundays, so let's look at a little bit of my modified release schedule. First off, I'd like to say that I'm confident that the trailer will come out May 2nd or May 3rd. Probably the 3rd because it's a Cobra Kai day of release. It's a Sunday. Last year, the trailer was on April 4th and was 20 days before the release. I'm confident our wait between the trailer and the release will be more like 16 days. So my new idea for the release of the show will be May 17th. Before the trailer, there were sneak peeks and a teaser as early as 25 days, I believe, before the trailer last year. I'm confident we'll get something this Sunday. Maybe a teaser or even a small sneak peek or nod to the show. I'm confident that there's nothing on Thursday, but we'll get something on Sunday. So something will be released either the 16th or 19th of April. Not sure about the 16th, though. I'm not sure about Thursday, but I'm really confident that we'll get something on Sunday. I'm thinking that on Sunday we'll get a teaser, for the show, like a teaser trailer. They did that last time about 25 days before the main trailer, but I'm assuming that they did that earlier than that this year because I'm being really optimistic about when the show's going to come out. So maybe the next Thursday, April 23rd, we get a sneak peek. Thursday, April 30th, another sneak peek. Sunday, May 3rd, the trailer. And Sunday, May 17th, the release. That is my schedule. Okay, let's jump into the first episode of our series on backstories. Our first episode is on no other but good old Narioshi Miyagi, a favorite of Karate Kid fans. I'm adding another element to this show. I didn't tell you. We are going to be drawing a timeline of Karate Kid along the way. So 1925 is the first date relevant to the Karate Kid that we can jot down on our timeline. That's because that's the year when Narioshi Miyagi was born in June. Okay, I'll admit it. There has been controversy surrounding Mr. Miyagi's name because in the fourth Karate Kid we hear Keisuke Miyagi instead of Narioshi, which we see in film 2. But actually, Keisuke is English for Narioshi. Hideo Miyagi is his scene name in the first movie, which is probably his middle name. So we have Narioshi Hideo Miyagi as his given name. So mark 1925 as the birth of Mr. Miyagi in Tomi Village, Okinawa. Next event that we can jot down was stated in Karate Kid 2, which Mr. Miyagi states himself while they're driving to Tomi Village. Miyagi points and said, "I learned fishing at that point. It was 1927 and much quieter then." Interesting that Mr. Miyagi learned fishing in 1927, meaning he was 2. What a wise man. And can you see him with a fishing pole, just grabbing fish with a toddler? Wow, that's crazy. Meeting Sato is probably the next thing that happened. Japanese go to school at 6 or 7. So I believe Miyagi became friends with Sato in 1932. Miyagi probably met Yukie at age 15, so let's put Yukie in late 1940 or early 1941. I don't know the story, I'll try and sum it up. So Miyagi was born in Okinawa, met a great friend named Sato, and it was custom that dads teach their kids karate, and it's a sacred practice, but Sato was such a good friend to Mr. Miyagi, or I'll just say Narioshi, that the dad trained both of them together, and they became such good friends until a girl named Yukie came between them. See, Miyagi liked her, was dating her, and Sato was arranged to marry her. That was custom back then, and he was angry that Mr. Miyagi liked her, so he said, "Let's fight to the death," and Mr. Miyagi left for America before that could happen. So that's why there's so much tension in the second movie, and since Daniel's going to Okinawa, so be sure to check out the second movie. Okay, jump back in. Since Miyagi met Yukie around early 1941, Miyagi dated her for a while before she was arranged to marry Sato, probably in the summer. The fight to death probably occurred around September, before Mr. Miyagi left Okinawa and arrived in Los Angeles, California. Miyagi was 16 when he enrolled in college in Santa Barbara, which he most likely lied about being older, or looked older. I would look older too if I had gone through that stress. Miyagi looks old for being 59 in the first Karate Kid. When I was little, I thought he was 85. Anyway, the Executive Order 9066 was released on February 19, 1942. This was the order that said everybody of Japanese heritage will be interned in internment camps. Miyagi was probably interned by February 20th, 1942 at Manzanar Relocation Center. He most likely met his unknown wife by early 1943 and was married by summer or fall 1943. The 442nd Regiment began in the summer of 1944. We know Miyagi decided to fight for his country, his new country, and the Germans in the 442nd Regiment. We know while he was at war, he was informed that his wife and child died due to complications at childbirth. In November of 1944, he continued fighting the Germans and taught Lieutenant Jack Pierce the art of karate by early 1945. Mr. Miyagi stayed with the 442nd Regiment until 1946 when he won the Medal of Honor. He stayed in the military until 1948 when he was awarded Staff Sergeant. He won many other medals along the way. He worked in an oil company probably until around 1964, and maybe sold cars for a while in the 1960s. He became a maintenance man sometime in the late 60s or early 70s, and landed in the South Seas apartment somewhere around 1970. We know he lived in Hawaii for a while during the war, maybe from 1944 to 1948, and then moved back to LA by 1948, and then to Detroit, which is referenced in the first movie. He probably moved to Detroit in the 60s and then back to the LA by the time that he got to South Seas. So those are the details we can get from Mr. Miyagi before the Karate Kid, which takes place in 1984. Now, for the big question. How will this tie into the series? We know Daniel is going to Okinawa. The actors and actresses for Sato and Yukie and Miyagi are dead, sadly, but the actors for Chosen and Kamiko are alive and well. I have a feeling Daniel's going to be very enthusiastic about returning to Tomi Village. We know he's been there a few times due to a reference in the second movie, probably lastly around the time he was 25, which would be in 1993. So he hasn't been there in almost 30 years. So Daniel arrives at the airport with Amanda, Sam, and Anthony. You can see Anthony being taken into some security for some illegal video game. Well, they arrive in Tomi Village, and I see that the whole thing is super developed and dirty compared to the 1986 movie. It's really sad, but that's how it looks right now. Chosen will be working at some mini-mart and could confront Daniel about his honor or something. But why did the Russos go to Okinawa? Is one of the big questions. Well, first of all, Daniel picked up an Okinawa book in the Season 2 finale. Things seem to go really downhill in the finale, so Daniel needs to refine balance. Is Okinawa the right place where he can find it? But what if Chosen is still running around? And Daniel falls in love with Kumiko. But Chosen wants Kumiko. Would you be right if you think this? No, I think you'd probably be wrong, because Kumiko is probably not returning. Kumiko is busy starring in a Star Trek TV series, the actress for her. And we last heard of her in 1985. And in 1985, she was at a dance school in Tokyo. She probably has a career in Tokyo. She's not the one to worry about. This guy is. Chosen Taguchi. He probably isn't doing too good. I just keep going back to picturing him in the mini-mart. I feel bad for the guy. He's dead to his rich uncle who died. Chosen is poor. Daniel probably is sad already going to Okinawa because he had to shut up Miyagi-Do, and Robbie Keane is in jail or has run away on the lam. Chosen is probably very angry to see Daniel back. He's like, this guy again? I hate this guy. Chosen's like, if there were only one way to get back at him for what he did. Wait, where's there? Who is Chosen's closest relative that we know of? Sato. And Sato trained with Miyagi under his dad. What style did they do? Miyagi-Do. This is the perfect weapon. StoryDive did a video similar to my theory, but didn't go too far in depth. Nice channel. Go check it out once you're done with my video. Okay, anyway, since Miyagi's father founded Miyagi-Do karate, Sato was taught the art under his father. Sato must have some inheritance of this style and name, just like Miyagi did. This is the perfect weapon. Miyagi and Sato both got the rights to use the style, and teach too. But now that Miyagi and Sato are dead, where did the rights of the dojo and the style go to? Well, Chosen probably assumes it's his, because he's the closest thing to Sato's son, and same with Daniel because he's closest to Mr. Miyagi's son. Chosen probably thinks he has more rights, since Chosen is actually blood related to Sato. Even though Chosen is dead to Sato, I'm sure Sato might, being the nice person he became, at least gave something to Chosen in his will, possibly Miyagi-Do Karate, but I feel like Chosen could acquire the rights by himself. So Chosen is poor and Daniel is rich, and Chosen probably wants to change that. So he could file a lawsuit against Daniel LaRusso in the 3rd season for teaching Miyagi-Do Karate in the past months before the trip, or Chosen could secretly challenge Anthony to a fight to the death. Or make a pass at Sam, or beat up Sam or Amanda. What does Daniel do? When the fight comes to you, you have to be ready to fight back. Maybe Daniel versus Johnny is not what we have been waiting for. It was Daniel versus Chosen the whole time, because that's the most important fight in the whole Karate Kid saga. As Miyagi would say, this fight's over honor, and not a plastic metal trophy. Daniel is all about honor, and so is Chosen, so that would be the perfect story arc in the 3rd season. I think a story like Sam fighting Chosen's daughter is a little bit too copying of the Karate Kid. The fight to the death would be very interesting to see again. I feel like Anthony will finally stand up for himself, and to some Okinawa bullies as well for a side plot, and Sam will learn to become a better person. I feel like most of Mr. Miyagi's family is gone. Maybe Daniel will have to learn more from a villager that knew Mr. Miyagi, such as one of his school friends who can tell Daniel more about the history of Okinawa and how Mr. Miyagi left. I'm hoping we'll see some flashbacks from the 1930s and 1940s as well. Mr. Miyagi's war and wife and kid's death won't be as big as an issue in this season, though. Thanks for watching Season 3 Prediction. I know that Hayden Schlossberg tweeted that Chosen won't be in it, but if he said that he would, that'd be too much of a giveaway, wouldn't it? And this would just be such a nice story for the season. On Thursday, don't miss my episode on Kreese's backstory. If you want to strike that subscribe button, remember, karate is for defense only. Just kidding. Subscribe so you won't miss a video. And tune in again on Thursday to Kraken Academy Productions.